Lord Lawson, it's been an extraordinary week in terms of British-Irish relations, with the findings of the Saville report finally being made public, very damning criticism of the British Defence Forces and the behaviour of the paratroopers in Derry in 1972. Are you surprised by those findings and just how critical they have been of the British Army's behaviour in the north?
I think it is wrong to talk, if I may say so, about it being about the British Army's behaviour in the north. I think that the British Army behaved very well. The problem was the paras in that incident in 1972 in Derry, in Londonderry, and which I know well. When I was in the Navy many, many years ago, I was based in Londonderry. It was an important naval base in those days. I know the place. And that was appalling, what a number, not all the paras incidentally, but what a number of the paras did. That was appalling, and the British Prime Minister, new British Prime Minister, quite rightly apologised for that, and the truth has come out. I deeply regret that it took so long before the truth did come out. I think that the Saville Inquiry, it needed to be a thorough inquiry, but it didn't need to take that long. I think it was pretty clear a long time ago that what was done by a number of paras on that bloody Sunday was something which should never ever be done, and is a scar on the paratroop regiment. But I think it is quite wrong to condemn the British Army as a whole on the basis of that incident.
As you say, it has taken an awful long time for the truth finally to come out, and we know, of course, there was a report which was a whitewash, and many people in the north, and those, of course, who were relatives of people who died in Derry in 1972, were incredibly disappointed with that initial report. But when you say that it was the behaviour of the paratroopers, you weren't, I don't think you were an MP actually in 1972, I think you came in after that. But when you look back now and assess those events, did you at the time also believe that they were civilians who were killed unnecessarily and that they were innocent, despite what the Defence Forces were saying at the time?
I obviously didn't know. I was interested, I was following it, because although I hadn't then entered the House of Commons, as you say, I entered in 1974, I was, in 1972, I was a journalist writing columns and so on, so I was obviously following what was happening. I feared that it was an atrocity that had been committed, but and it was quite clear that there should be an inquiry. It was also quite clear that the first inquiry, the so-called Widgery inquiry, was a whitewash, which is wholly regrettable. Anyhow, the fact is that the full truth has now come out, and the British Prime Minister has apologised for it. And I have to say too that a lot of terrible things were done during the Troubles in Northern Ireland. The IRA behaved in the most ghastly way. Far more killings, far more murders were committed by the IRA than the relatively small number, not that I'm condoning it in the slightest, but the relatively small number that occurred on Bloody Sunday in Londonderry in 1972.